Hey YouTube, Denise here from Dueling Bunnies, and I hope you're enjoying this Let's Talk About Inzektors series that I've started so far. I've been getting a lot of great feedback from it, from players wanting to learn how to play Inzektors better, and also those wanting to learn how to beat Inzektors. I'm getting really great feedback from it, so I'm going to continue this segment, and this is going to be part 2B. We're actually going to talk about how to side, because, a lot of players don't know how to side. They have a decent side deck, but they just side incorrectly, and that's what can cause them to lose games. So we're going to talk about, we already talked about the extra deck, we talked about the side deck, so now we're going to talk about how to side. And here I have the layout. Normally, siding obviously depends on your matches, okay? Whatever you're facing at the moment, that's how you decide how to side. Now, let's start off with a mirror matchup, okay? Mirror matchup. You're going to obviously keep your heart of the deck, okay? Your Giga Mantis, the 3 Hornets, 3 Centipedes, and your Dragonfly. You're going to keep your engine, which is the Tour Guides or the Mystic Tomato ones with Armageddon Knights. So you're going to keep that engine. And hand traps. Here's where it goes. Now, Max C's, it depends on the mirror matchup, obviously what engine they run. So, in game 1, when they're playing, focus on their engine. Focus on whether it's a Tour Guide engine or a Mystic Tomato engine. Because if they run a Tour Guide engine, I would love to keep this in. If they're running a Mystic Tomato engine, probably not. I would probably go ahead and take the Maxis out and probably put a third Veiler in. Because this is your hand trap right here, the 2 Maxis and the 2 Veilers. If they are not running like a Tour Guide engine, I would normally take out the Maxis and put in a third Veiler and some other back row hate against them, and like a DD Crows and stuff like that. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, if they are running the Tour Guide engine, of course, keep your Maxis. Not only do they force them to stop at the Tour Guide Sangan, or if they are forced to go, you get that extra draw power. So something to keep in mind, okay? That's definitely depending on the engine that they run in the Inzektor deck. That being said, Veiler is one of those cards that are iffy in most matches. Mirror match, it's wonderful. I would actually go with 3 Veilers for the mirror match. It's amazing. It stops Inzektors completely. The MSTs also with Inzektors, you want to keep them at 3. So if you're playing a mirror matchup, keep your Mystical Space Typhoons at 3. You're definitely going to not want them to blow up your field, so the 3 MSTs helps with that. They do still get their secondary effects with like the Centipede and the Dragonfly, because technically the Hornet is detached, but they don't get a popping effect, so you still keep your field presence, which is needed in this deck. It's keeping and maintaining your field presence. So again, depending on the match and the engine, that determines whether you keep your Maxis if you have them. And I would suggest 2 Veilers. If some people made 1, that's why I'm suggesting 2 Veilers at the least, 3 at the most. It's really detrimental to Inzektor players, 3 effect Veilers. What I would side out, I would side out the Dark Arm Dragon. Reason, not important in games 2. Whether you win or lose, whether you're going first or not, it's not important. Game 2. Let's say you won game 1, and you're facing the mirror matchup. We're talking about Inzektors here. You're an Inzektor player. You're playing another Inzektor player. The first thing I'm going to take out is Dark Arm. And the reason for that is I would much rather have in a third Veiler for the Dark Armed and add some light targets into the deck to make BLS more alive. I think that BLS is a lot, it's bigger and harder to get off the field with an Inzektor player. Why? Because not only could you go ahead and summon BLS, it's a 3,000 beater. What do we honestly have that can stand against 3,000? Unless they have an Acid Golem on the field. But even then, you can just banish the monster and go off with your other full field. So that's something that is key for me when I'm siding, is making BLS live. So a lot of light targets go in. So I also take out a Foolish Burial, and the reason for this is that, like I said, you're sighting in other monsters, and so the Inzektor loop is not really as important at the moment. You know, it's good, it's key if you have it, but it's not really as important anymore, which also throws off your opponent when it comes to other decks other than the mirror matchup, talking about like wind-ups and Dino Rabbit. When you're not so focused on your loop anymore, their Shadow Imprisonings, their Macrocosmos don't work anymore. And that's something that I think a lot of Inzektor players make a mistake of. They focus too much on the OTK, or they focus too much on the loop, that they don't really get you know, good plays going off. They don't have variety in their deck, and that's very important when you're an Inzektor player, is variety. You need to have different plays all the time. So something that I like to do personally, I like sighting in Cyber Dragons, I like sighting in DD Crows against the mirror match, light targets also, and I also take out usually Book of Moon and Call of the Haunted. Book of Moon is good, don't get me wrong, but against an Inzektor player, it's not really that important. I would much rather keep a Book of Moon in for a Dino Rabbit player rather than a Inzektor player, because I can get over whatever Exceed they bring out easily. It's not a problem for me, so I don't use it. And Call of the Haunted, it's good, but like I said, games 2 and 3, you're really not caring so much about swarming the field or using your loop, so calling the Dragonfly is not important anymore, so I take it out. Now, the reason why I keep the Gores in is because if they pull off an Inzektor loop on me, I should have an answer when they attack. So Gores is important. What usually I will go ahead and do at this point in the game, let's say that they're running the Mystic Tomato version. I'm going to go ahead and take out 2 Maxis, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and put probably a third Veiler. I'm going to take out all of this. So there's going to be a third effect Veiler there. There's going to be, or not even, you can do 2 DD Crows, 2 Cyber Dragons, and then these 2 can be like, you could do Thunder Kings, you can do Snowman Eaters, because then again, also, their wind-ups are very small, so not only do they take damage at the flip of Snowman Eater, but they will lose an Inzektor, and if it's an Exceed that they're attacking with, yeah, my Snowman Eater will die, but their Exceed is wasted, it's gone, they have nothing on the field after the resolution of Snowman Eater on the damage step. So, that's something that I'll do. It'll be like 2 Snowman Eaters, 2 Cyber Dragons, and 2 DD Crows or something like that, or an Effect Veiler and a DD Crow. But DD Crow is important because you do want their Hornets to not be in the grave anymore. You obviously cannot side Microcosmos because it hurts your deck, so you go ahead and remove with what you can. Kaiku works as well, but Kaiku, it's just a little slow for me. I'd rather go and pitch something from the hand just to get rid of the Hornet really quick, as opposed to having to summon the Kaiku, attack directly, and then remove. I think DD Crow's a lot faster. So that's what I would do in the mirror matchup. Now let's talk about wind-ups. And wind-ups, a lot of people are scared, and I can understand why, because keeping a hand is important in order to make a play, and that's obviously known. You need to have a hand in order to make a play. So what I do, okay, Game 1, whether you win or lose, it does not matter. Your deck stays the same. Now, when it comes to sighting, if you have Max C, keep it in there. And keep your Veilers. The reason why I say that is 2 things that hurt windups. And this is something very important. I want you guys to listen up. And I can speak because I know my fiance runs windups. I run Inzektors. And I play test a lot against him. Number 1. What hurts windups is hurting them when they activate an effect. Now, sometimes, and I see this a lot, you guys. I see this a lot, believe me or not. I see this countless times, okay? People misuse Effect Veiler all the time. all the time they misuse an effect veiler. I just don't understand how people can do this. They freak out with windups, and you have to take your time. You have to take your time and negate the right things, okay? So let's talk about effect veiler. Why effect veiler is important against windups. Number one, never use effect veiler once they summon a monster. They can go summon shark, okay? Let's say they go summon, normal summon magician, special summon shark. They obviously go nuts and they go, effect veiler the magician. But they never declared an activation of effect. So why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? It makes no utter sense. No utter sense. And they will also either go and jump the gun and be like, oh, well, Veiler the Shark. And there was no declaration of activation of an effect. So that's what I don't understand. And I see this a lot, believe me or not, guys. A lot of people jump the gun and they go willy-nilly with the effect veiler as well as the maxi, but I'll get to that in a second. Be careful with how you use it. It's detrimental when you know how to use it right, okay? It'll hurt them tremendously when you know how to use it correctly. So, let's say they go normal summon the magician, special the shark, use shark's effect to activate magician's effect. So on the activation of the magician's effect, I will Veiler. Why? Because the shark is now at a level 3 or 5, okay? So they can't exceed with the magician and the shark anymore. So I don't care about stopping the activation of the shark. I care about them special summoning a monster with the magician. So on declaration, declaration that they are activating magician's effect, okay, you will Veiler. A lot of wind-up players, they will just activate the shark's effect, but they won't activate the magician's effect. So be careful. Don't jump the gun, and as soon as they activate shark's effect, say, okay, Veiler magician. You don't do that. Wait till they activate magician's effect in order to Veiler. You don't know how many times I see that, and it drives me insane. They also do it with Inzektor players. Also, I will summon a dragonfly. There will be a hornet in the graveyard. I have not declared an activation of anything, okay? And they'll just start dropping Veilers out of the bomb. Wait till your opponent activates an effect to use effect Veiler, okay? Just keep that in mind. So that's very detrimental to windups. Now the Max C, if you have it. So this applies. Oops, I dropped the card. Ugh. This applies to those players that have Maxis. Now, if you don't have Maxis, I'll talk to you in a minute. Maxis. There's a cool, neat little thing that a lot of people don't know. And I'll be honest, I did not know this until recently, okay? When it comes to monsters that special summon from the hand, in this case, we're talking about wind-up, so we're going to talk about Shark, okay? There's a revelation process that happens before the monster is actually summoned. Now, usually a duelist, when you're in a duel, they're not going to say, okay, I'm revealing Shark to let you know that I can summon it. Now here I'm summoning it. They're not going to tell you that. But there is technically a revelation before they actually drop the monster onto the field, okay? So what you can do, if they have the magician, okay, or any wind-up, and they special that Shark, you can go, upon the reveal of Shark, I chain Maxi. So then you can draw a card for that Shark. That's something very important to know. Don't miss that draw step. If they summon that Shark, okay, and you have that Maxi in hand, you can say, upon the revelation of Shark, I chain Maxi, and you can draw a card. Very important to know. And then that also stops them from exceeding with that Shark. Because at that point in time, you already have that chained, you can draw, and it really depends on how risky that opponent wants to be, but this can be really good against windups as well. So keep that in mind. Most windup players will run this engine right here with the tour guides, so again, keeping the Max Cs and the Veilers are very important. If you don't have Max Cs, something I do recommend is compulsory. If you have that, that works really well against windups, that hurts them tremendously. Wait till they actually bring out an Exceed. Then Chain Compulse. Not only do they lose their Exceed materials, but it goes back to the extra deck. So their Exceed materials are actually in the graveyard, which definitely is awesome. You don't want them to have a lot of stuff to work with in the deck. You would much rather have it all in the graveyard, and just let things flow that way. So Compulsory works really well if you side them in, as well as D prisons. D prisons help because they don't have a field destruction effect. They only destroy your hand. So if you have a D prison set, and they attack with that a Zen Mighty or something like that, you flip it. They lose that Zen Mighty. No longer can they use its effect to special summon a wind up, which is really awesome. Again, they lose the wind up materials under it. So amazing, really good. And what else can I say? Again, these are the cards that will side out. Okay. DD Crows. Do not side DD Crows against windups. I don't think that really helps too much. I think you're going to be holding on to DD Crow a little too long. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to stop the hand loop. I want to stop the hand loop. You can stop the hand loop if you have these cards. Effect Veiler, it's a super now. Okay, you can get it in a special edition pack, so there's no excuse as to why you shouldn't have a Veiler. Veilers are really easy to get now, guys. So Effect Veiler really hurts. If you don't have Maxis, like I said, Compulsory hurts, and as well as if you run 2 Torrentials, that's awesome. D Prisons as well. So there's ways to stop things. Again, these are the same cards I would side out. No DD Crows against windups for me. I don't think that's good. A great card is Snowman Eaters. Because of, the defense, the Zen Mighty itself cannot attack over the set Snowman Eater. So they take damage and they will lose their Zen Mighty. And also Spirit Reaper. Spirit Reaper, anything that cannot be destroyed by battle, is amazing against windups. They don't have a field destruction effect, so they're going to be sitting there for a while like, what the hell do I do to get this off? And that way they're passing their turns. You are drawing and you're getting more plays going off on the field. They are on the losing advantage at that point in time, unless they have a Smashing Ground, which my fiance is smart enough to main too. He sides a third. I mean, that's how detrimental those cards are to him, and he knows that. So imagine that if my fiance has to side in main 2 smashings and side the third, that means that these cards really hurt him. So to avoid that, he does that. So that's very important. Snowman Eaters, Spirit Reapers, Marshmallow, things like that, they hurt wind-up players significantly. Cyber Dragons, that's okay tech against them. I would much rather put in a Thunder King over a Cyber Dragon with windups. Again, though, if you definitely see that they're bringing out, a lot of the Zen Mighties and they manage to get their loop easily, then sure, yeah, go with the Cyber Dragon, because you could contact with some stuff and get Chimera Tech out. So that's for windups. Now, Dino Rabbit. Let's talk about Dino Rabbit decks. First thing to come out is this immediately. Effect Veiler is dead against Wind-Up Rabbits. Rescue Rabbit decks. So Maxi stay. I'm actually getting a third Maxi, hopefully, if this works out. A plan that I have with this other kid works out. Hopefully I should have a third Maxi, which will help me in that. So Maxis hurt. Now again, I will talk to those that don't have Maxis in a second. You keep everything the same. You cite out the same stuff. I mean, that's how easy it is. I like keeping 3 MSTs for Dino Rabbits, not only because they have those set Forbidden Lances, and that drives me insane when I really swarm the field and then they lance something. It's just annoying as hell. So the 3 MSTs really help in hitting those lances before they can activate them. Or the warnings, especially. The Fiendish Chains are annoying, so you want to hit those. There's a lot of things that you can hit with MSTs. Be careful with how you use MST. That's another thing. Don't just set MST and say pass. You want to actually hold on to your MSTs now. I think that holding on to your MSTs in hand are actually a lot better because you hit specific cards. You don't want to blind MST. You want to be able to hit something in specific. The Mind Control is really good as well. Not only because I main it now. Because game 1, they don't know technically what you're playing in the beginning, so Mind Control could be really essential. They're going to probably bring out a Logia first before they bring out a Dolka. Logia is really easy to get rid of with Inzektors. Dolka, on the other hand, is harder. So Mind Control helps. You have the generic... here, though, I would probably keep in a Book of Moon. Whoops. I would probably keep the Book of Moon in. Because I think that Book of Moon is really, 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 really important against Rabbit, because it forces a negation. Not only are they not going to want to have their Dolka face down, they're probably going to negate it with a Logi or something, whatever they have. It hurts them because they cannot activate their monster's effects. So Book of Moon's really good. So this is technically what you're going to have out. That Dark Arm, that Foolish, the Call, and the 2 Veilers. So here's what you can do. 2 Snowman Eaters, a Spirit Reaper, a Marshmallow, or 2 Spirit Reapers. Or you could do 2 Snowman Eaters, a Spirit Reaper, 2 Smashing Grounds. There's a lot of things. Also, something else I will take out a lot. I forgot to mention. I don't know why I haven't mentioned. I take out Torbus a lot in most of my matches, even in Mirror Match. Not Mirror Match. I keep this in Mirror Match because I like to return the Hornets to the deck. But Windups and Dino Rabbit, I take this out as well. So it could be like 2 Snowman Eaters, a Spirit Reaper, or 2 Spirit Reapers, whatever you have, or a Spirit Reaper, Marshmallow, and 2 Smashing Grounds. Also, something else to consider, which I'm also thinking about putting in my extra deck, or my side deck, is Deep Prison. Deep Prison works tremendously against the Dino Rabbit player. So I'm thinking about putting in Deep Prisons into my side deck. I just have to really know what to part with. I think every card in there is essential. So I'm going to work on it, but Deep Prisons are actually going to be in there because Deep Prison hurts the Dino Rabbit player, as well as Thunder King. If you can squeeze it, guys, I mean, do whatever you have to do to squeeze it in there. But sometimes what I'll even do, I'll take out the Mind Control. I mean, if I'm really trying to go real hate on them, I take out a lot. So usually, you know, I'll take out some cards here and I'll just be like, okay, well, you're gonna be a Deep Prison. You're going to be a Snowman Eater, Spirit Reaper, 2 Smashing, or 2 Deep Prisons, or I can say you're a Thunder King, you're a Smashing, you're a Spirit Reaper, 2 Snowman Eaters. I mean, there's just like so much things, so many combinations of cards that you can put together against Dino Rabbit that really hurts their deck. But definitely keep your warnings, keep your judgment. You need to negate, keep the Compulse, because again, what you could do at this point in time is when they do the Rescue Rabbit, bring the 2 things, you can just go, well, let me go ahead and compulse one of those guys so you can't go into a Loki or Dolka this turn. There's a lot of things that you can do with compulsory. So that's something very important to keep in mind. Now, before I end this video, those that don't have Max Cs for Dino Rabbit, what you do is, like I said, Thunder Kings, Snowman Eaters, Spirit Reapers, Deep Prisons are common. Thunder Kings are common. Spirit Reapers are common. Marshmallow came in the Agent Structure deck. That's common. So there's a lot that you can put against them. If you don't have the Max Cs, there's a lot more options for you to put in against them. Now, before I end this video, let's talk about rogue decks because they will be there. We have the heroes now with the Acid. Acid really breaks. It's like a Harpy's Feather Duster. It destroys everything. So back row hate is even bigger now. So considering Starlight Road, also a really good tech choice for your back row. Now that Acid is out and legal now, Starlight Road is going to be really essential, as well as Deep Prisons against heroes. I think Deep Prisons are awesome. Thunder Kings as well. There's just a lot that you could do. Heroes are going to be something, so guys, please don't underestimate them. As well as Gravekeepers. Let's talk about Gravekeepers, okay? They have the hand destruction. They can side in skill drain. They have the Malefic 4,000 beaters if they go into them. I mean, there's so many options for Gravekeepers. Gravekeepers are a really viable deck this format. So keeping in mind that, you shouldn't have a problem with Inzektors and getting over a Gravekeeper deck. I've been a Gravekeeper player. I know their weaknesses. If you can pop, you know, certain cards fast enough, you shouldn't have a problem. But then again, the Veilers help against with the Descendant and stuff like that. Smashing Grounds as well if they go into the Malefic Cyber. And the 3 MSTs with the Heavy Storm important on getting rid of that Necro Valley. If that Necro Valley is not there, they won't be able to bring out the Malefic. What else? Also, take out cards that have to be removed from play in order to work, like this, and probably this. But again, like if you think that you don't have to take it out, don't. But generally speaking, I would probably take out the BLS. That's something I would probably will take out. So yeah, that's the sighting. I mean, it's really not hard. It just takes patience, and it really takes understanding of what you're doing and what you're playing in order to determine how you're going to side, okay? I know it's something that took me a while to learn, and I'm still learning, because sometimes I'll make mistakes and I'll take something and I'll be like, oh my god, I wish I had this right now, and I sided it out. And I'm like, I'm beating myself up about it after when I lose, because I'm like, I should have kept that card. Why did I even think about taking it out? So it takes a lot of patience, guys. Just go slow. Think about every little detail when you side. It's utterly important. I mean, I cannot express how important it is to side correctly. So this video is actually extremely long. It's 25 minutes long, but it was one of those important videos. I hope you liked it. If you have any extra things that you want to say down there about siding with Inzektors, go ahead. When you're siding against Inzektors, again, the obvi cards would be Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors, Macrocosmos. D-Fissure does not work against this, guys. Please don't side in D-Fissure. I will laugh in your face. D-Fissure does nothing. Macrocosmos does. So side Macrocosmos instead of D-Fissure. So many little kids. I mean, there was one guy at locals that sided D-Fissure against me, and I laughed. I really did chuckle, and I'm like, after the match, I have to tell you something. And then after the match, I told him, I'm like, dude, D-Fissure does nothing. He goes, oh, and he just was so embarrassed. And I'm like, no, I'm just not trying to make you feel embarrassed. I'm just telling you, don't ever do that. It doesn't work. So Macrocosmos is more efficient. Shadow Imprisoning Mirror shuts down this deck entirely, unless we have the 3 MSTs. Obviously keep that, and the Royal Decrees help aid in us getting over that Shadow Imprisoning. But yeah, that's siding. It's not that hard once you really get the hang of it. So thanks for watching. Denise here from Dueling Bunnies. I'm tired of hearing myself talk for 26 minutes and 24, 25, and 26 seconds. So thanks for watching, and I'm out.